Skinner!
Yeah. So, as of right now, you can see the first episode of Lazarus as we... So, Shinichiro Watanabe has created a new series, Lazarus, which is taking a lot of hints from Cowboy Bebop. Seriously, let's get the elephant out of the room. Lazarus, from what I've seen so far in episode 1, is filled to the brim with not only a lot of references to Cowboy Bebop, but also a lot of references to the Holy Bible. This is likely mainly due in part to the fact that the series, Lazarus, is named after the man that Jesus raised from the dead. References don't stop there, as not only is the title thematically appropriate for the premise of the series, but I've noticed there were constant biblical references even just in the first episode. The main city is called Babylonia City, so obviously something's going down. There's these protesters saying sympathy for the devil, and other biblical references, as well as an overt reference to an episode from Cowboy Bebop. Seriously, I could go on and on about the overt references to the Cowboy Bebop series, as well as the Bible. The show is set in the year 2052 or something like that, about 20 years before the events of Cowboy Bebop, if these two stories were to share the same universe, but Watanabe has insisted that Lazarus is its own separate story. The premise of the story is that Dr. Skinner has developed a miraculous drug that enables people to eliminate all pain. Everything's all well and dandy until Dr. Skinner reveals to the world that he had implemented some kind of mutation within the drug so that after a certain time limit, the mutations will grow and people who had taken the drug will die. Oops. So, sometime later, Dr. Skinner has released another broadcast to the world indicating the details of this mutation death and sharing to the world that if people can find him within the next month, then maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to cure the world.
Let's see you make a joke out of that, Mr. Smart Guy.
So, in response to this, some government lady or something like that has hired a group of outlaws in their 20s or so to form a group named Lazarus to go out and find Dr. Skinner before it's too late. That's the basic premise, and from what I've seen so far, the presentation is very engaging. Seeing how Shinichiro Watanabe is involved, there's going to be a lot of emphasis on the visuals, the action, the implementation of music as part of the overall presentation. In fact, the name of this episode, Goodbye Cruel World, is named after a piece of music. Watanabe seems to have a love for that kind of thing. And Watanabe has this particular fascination with combining storytelling elements from the West and the East, making for this hybrid sort of presentation that can appeal to many different people. And in this case, he's collaborated with the fight choreographer from the John Wick series. And looking at the action, yeah, you can really tell there's a visceral weightiness to the action, and it's very engaging in how the characters interact with each other during each of these action sequences. From the way this first episode is laid out, this is more of an introductory episode more than anything to set up the world, the stakes, and especially our main character, whose name is Alex.
His name is Axel, you silly Billy. Axel, you uneducated swine.
Yet, because he has so many similar features to that of Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, I might as well call him as he really is. Spike Spiegel Sr.
Okay, fine. The comparison to Spike Spiegel was inevitable with this character, who is still called Axel, might I remind you.
So Spike Sr. has a reputation for getting himself into trouble, and, much like Spike Spiegel, is a daredevil, if not more so. In this episode, this series of events from what I've seen so far could have easily have just gotten on with forming the team with or without the entire escape chase sequence. Yet, this entire escape parkour chase sequence exists to establish Spike Sr. as a character. He could have easily have just tagged along with the government lady to get along to the Lazarus team, but He decided to try to escape because he's got a free spirit and he likes a good challenge, as indicated by his unbelievable leaps of faith into absolutely dangerous situations. He's clearly established as the kind of character who's fully willing to risk his life to pull off unbelievable stunts. Either this character is actively ignoring the voice in his head that tells him not to make these leaps of death, or he just doesn't have it. We're also introduced to the other members of the Lazarus team and what they specialize in. Spike Sr. is eventually caught and is introduced to the Lazarus team, which he is now a part of. So the Lazarus team have 30 days to try to find Dr. Skinner in order to find a cure for this drug that he's made and distributed worldwide. Another part of the presentation that I find very engaging is something that will especially appeal to Cowboy Bebop fans. You'll remember in Cowboy Bebop how at the end of each episode there's a little vignette text at the bottom right corner that says, "See a Space Cowboy," with the occasional variation of that. So in Lazarus, that's now been switched to 29 days left. So obviously, as each episode goes along, that number's gonna go gradually down. And I thought to myself, yes, this is brilliant. This is an excellent storytelling device that was used brilliantly well in Cowboy Bebop as well as in Majora's Mask. It's taking the quirky element of Cowboy Bebop, which got really profound by the end, and combining it with the sense of doom and gloom like you get from the text from Majora's Mask, saying the first day, second day, third day, so on and so forth, and applying it to the context of the plot of this show by ramping up the tension as the countdown goes down. That's a brilliant storytelling device to conclude each episode from this point onwards. Also, I love the fusion between traditional hand-drawn animation and CGI landscapes. I think it's a great blend. And through this hybrid blend of animation, which in hindsight suits Watanabe's hybrid style of animation, even when he says he likes traditional animation, but still, the series is obviously traditional 2D animation oriented. You get the sense that there's an actively moving camera like in a movie, and I love it when animation is able to pull stuff like that off so efficiently and so seamlessly. It's really impressively well done. Now, as of right now, Adult Swim has released some other scenes for free on YouTube to showcase some of the action, but if you want to, you can go onto Adult Swim or whatever streaming software is suitable for you and watch the Lazarus show right now. From what I've heard, people say that this show doesn't quite live up to Cowboy Bebop. On the other hand, to the extent of my knowledge, as of right now, in the spring of 2025, there's only 2 shows that are worth checking out on Adult Swim: Smiling Friends and Lazarus. I will reserve my overall judgment of the series until I get the chance to see the entire series at some point. But in the meantime, I would give Lazarus episode 1 a 10.7 out of 12. It's enough to get me intrigued, although there's still a few things that are fairly vague as to what's going on, but of course, that remains to be seen if I see the rest of the TV series. What did you think of Lazarus? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll get a conversation started. Scott Slinker signing out.
Skinner! What?
You're getting paranoid.